Today's lesson is Chapter 10, Lesson 4, Surface Area of Triangular Prisms. So the goal of this lesson is to be able to find the surface area of a triangular prism. So the terms that you need to know are surface area, which means you're finding the area of all the faces and then adding them up. And then you need to know that it's a triangular prism. So it's going to be a little bit different than a rectangular prism, but still the same concept. Okay, so what we're going to do on this slide is we are going to take the triangular prism right up here, and we're going to break down all the faces to make it easier to find the area of each side or face so we can add them all up. So the first one we want to do is the front. Well, I see the front of this prism is in the shape of a triangle. Okay, so I'm going to draw that right down here. Okay, so I drew the face, and the shape of the face is a triangle. Okay, then I need to do the back. So if I'm going to do the back, that's way over here, and it's the opposite side of the front. So it's going to be the same exact thing. So I'm going to try and draw the same shape. Okay? Notice I have two triangles. I wonder what the next three faces will be. Okay, so the top. So the top of this prism is right up here, and I'm going to outline that. And I can see that that one isn't a triangle. That one is just a simple rectangle. Okay, but first I want to get rid of that one, and then I'll draw it. Okay, so it was just a rectangle. Okay, so rectangle, and I'm just going to abbreviate it. Alright, and then it says the bottom, and the bottom is going to be very similar, but not the exact same, and that's also a rectangle. And I always think it helps to outline it on the prism so you can see it. Sometimes it's hard to see with the triangles. It kind of looks like a triangle, but when you outline it, it ends up not looking like one. Okay, so the side is over here. See down here, there isn't a side, it's just a flat edge, so that one doesn't count. So I'm going over here, and I see that this is a rectangle as well. It's just a lot smaller. So I have a rectangle. Okay, so I did all of the faces, and I see that I have a total of 5 faces. So for a triangular prism, you have 5 faces. And that's true because on a triangle, there's only 3 sides. 1, 2, 3. So there's only going to be 5 faces versus the 6, like on a rectangular prism. Okay, here's just another model to show us what it looks like. So the surface area of a triangular prism, in words. The surface area of a triangular prism is the sum, so when you add everything up, of the areas of the 2 triangle bases and the 3 rectangular faces. Okay, so notice in this one, it kind of looks like a slice of cheese. You're going to have a triangle and a triangle. You always have 2 triangles, the top base and the bottom base, and then the lines that connect it are going to make the 3 rectangles. So here would be a rectangle, in my blue would be another rectangle, and then I will put it in green, the front rectangle. And then if you flattened it, like say it was a cardboard box, you could see right here the different shapes. The 2 triangles, and then you have the 3 rectangular faces. So you would have to find the area of 5 different things and then add them all up. The key though is with triangles, remember these 2, you have to take the base times the height and divide it by 2. And then the rectangular faces, you're just doing the length times the height, or length times width. Okay, here's a sample problem that they have already solved for us, but I'm going to just walk us through it. Find the surface area of the triangular prism. So right here, to find the surface area, you need to find the area of each face and then add them all up. Okay, so there's a lot of numbers. Over here you can see that. But you just need to break it apart and it will be super easy, I promise, okay? So as you can see, the two triangles, one triangle here, one triangle here. I'm just going to worry about my triangles first. And I see that it has a base of 1 and a height of 0.8, okay? So right here, it shows us again a base of 1 and a height of 0.8. So what I have to do first for the area of the triangles is I'm going to take 1 times 0.8, which I know is 0.8, and then I have to take that and divide it by 2. And when I do that, I get 0.4 because it's just half of 0.8. Okay, so that's the area of one triangle is 0.4. Well, I have two triangles with the same dimensions, so I have 2.4 triangles. So if I do that, I have 0.4 plus 0.4. Okay, I've done my triangles. Now I need to make sure that I do my rectangular faces. So I'm going to erase this part. I've done my math and I know my two triangles are 0.4 and 0.4. So now I'm going to do my rectangles in red. And as you can see, you just need to outline each face and then you might want to draw it out. So I see I have this rectangle. I see that this bottom part is 2 and this side length looks like it's 1 because all these side lengths are 1. So this one must be 1. So this is 1 times 2. That rectangle right there. Okay? Now I need to do the other two, and I'm just going to look at them. I see that this bottom one is also 1 times 2. So I have another one that's 1 times 2. And then I have this side one over here, and it looks like that one's 1 times 2 as well. So all three faces that I figured out are all 2. So I'm going to add that to my thing over here. I had the 2 triangles, now the 3 rectangles. And I get 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. 0.4 plus 0.4 is 0.8. So if I add those together, I get 6.8 centimeters squared. And that's how you figure that out. Alright, it says find the surface area. So I know that I have to figure out the area of 2 triangles first. So I'm going to draw those over here, my 2 triangles. And then I know I have 3 rectangles I have to find. One on the side, another one on the other side, and then one on the bottom. So that's a total of 3. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to find the area of all these faces. And then I'm going to add them up because it's the surface area. So I'm going to erase my lines just so it's easier for me to see what I'm doing. Okay, I have my triangles. I see the base of my triangle is 6. That one's pretty easy. Now I see the side number is 6, and so is this one. But triangles, remember, I don't care about the side, the slant height. I want the straight up and down height. So I see that that one's 5.2. So I'm going to have 6 times 5.2, and then I'm going to divide that by 2. Now if I was to type that in my calculator, I'm going to do 6 times 5.2, press the equal sign. That equals, that top part equals 31.2, and then I divide by 2, and I get 15.6. And remember, my triangles are always the same, so I can write that for both of them. Okay, now I'm going to do my rectangles in green. Let's do the bottom one. I see this side. It doesn't really show me a number for these 2 bottom sides. So if I look up here, I see that that one's 7. So that means these are 7. And then the bottom one is 6. So I have 7 times 6. and that equals 42. Well, if I look at my side one here, I have that same 7, as you can see right here, 7, and then this side one is 6, so I have 7 times 6 again. And you're going to see that that makes the same pattern. And I'm going to do 7 times 6 again and get 42. So basically I could do 42 times 3 in my calculator because I have 3 42s. And when I do that I get 126. And then 15.6 and 15.6. Well, look here. I took 31.2 and I divided it by 2. I cut it in half and I got 15.6. So if I double 15.6, I'm going to get 31.2 again. So that's always a little trick to know. So 126 plus 31.2 equals 157.2, and that would be centimeters squared because I'm doing surface area, and area is always squared. Okay, now I'm going to show you some examples of how to do it with a right triangle. So notice you can always tell when your prism is a right triangular prism because there's going to be that 90-degree angle. That little box down here tells me that it's 90 degrees. So that's going to make a difference because my triangle doesn't have all the same side lengths, making my rectangles all have the same side length. So I have my two triangles, and I'm going to draw those as right triangles. Here's one, and here's one. And then I'm going to have 3 rectangles, like always, because it adds up to 5 faces. However, these rectangles aren't going to be the same like on the last ones, because the triangles all have the same sides. Okay, so I have my faces drawn out. That's my first step. Then I need to figure out the surface area. So my base of my triangle is 4, because I always go off of my right angle. And then my height, it's not listed right here, but if I look at my other triangle, my height is listed, and it's at 5.7. So I have 4 times 0.7 divided by 2. Now I'm going to plug that into my calculator, and I'm going to type it as 4 times 5.7, press the equal sign, then I take it divided by 2. And I get 11.4. So this equals 11.4. That means this triangle equals 11.4. Perfect. Now I have my rectangles. I'm going to do my bottom one. I always think that one's really easy to see the dimensions. I see my length is 8.6 and my width or my height is 4. I'm going to type that in, 8.6 times 4, 34.4. So it equals 34.4. Okay, so I did that one. Now I want to do this side one right here. I'm going to do that one in green. Okay, and I want to see the length and the width of that, and I see the bottom part is 8.6, and the height is one of these two, so 5.7. So 8.6 times 5.7 equals 49.02. Okay, my last one you can see is kind of a slant over there. I'm going to draw it in the green. Okay, can you see that? So now I need to find the dimensions. I'm going to do that in orange. I see this bottom one right here. I don't have a number for it, but if I look over here, it's the same one as 8.6. And then the side of this one, side here, is going to be 7. So 8.6 times 7 equals 60.2. Okay, now I need to add up all of my areas because I found the area of each face. Now I need to total it. So 60.2 plus 49.02 plus 34.4 plus 11.4 plus 11.4. I total it and I get 166.42 meters squared. Beautiful. Okay, if you want to try this one over here, which I think you should, definitely try it. We will talk about the answer in class. Make sure you try it. You draw all the faces. Do it in the notebook, please. This last slide is going to be your practice problems. It's 1 and 2, and it's in your book. 2, if you also want to see it. I don't know if you have your books at home, but it's in the guided practice, and you can go ahead and try those. Remember to draw all the faces, and then find the area of each face, and then go from there, add them all up. Okay, that makes it the easiest. Show your work, draw the outline of each shape. It makes it easier. Look for the dimensions. So this first one would be 5 times 4.3 divided by 2. And then you know that's the area of one triangle, and you have 2 triangles, so you fill that in. And then you go ahead and you fill out the rest. Okay? Thank you for listening.